Hey yo, so The Last of Us trailer dropped about an hour ago. I was actually trying to look for this thing and I didn't see it earlier, and then Achara hit me up. She's like, how come you're not doing this trailer reaction? Did you want to skip it? I'm like, no! Of course not. Anyway, fun aside, I have actually been waiting for The Last of Us to drop to below the $30 mark. The new one, the remastered one for PlayStation 5. Just got done beating God of War Ragnarok. Not 100%, just, it's a story mode and some side quest favors. And I've been enjoying myself some Call of Duty Cold War. That's actually a fun action game. So anyway, Last of Us, once it hits that, $29, $25 mark, I'll go ahead and pick that up. We've got the Last of Us official trailer, HBO Max. Now, bear in mind, last time there was some music, and so we had to dip the audio a little bit here and there. I don't know if that'll happen this time. It's a possibility. Just want to give you the heads up in case you hear like audio dips in the trailer for whatever reason. If you guys haven't already, hit that subscribe button, bell icon, all notifications, and pretty please vote this up. Let YouTube know you're enjoying what you're watching. Would love to know from you guys in the comments below how you're feeling about this so far. I am actually pretty stoked. I didn't think I would be. I had strong reservations about the show, and here we are. I'm quite excited. All right, let's check it out.
If you don't think there's hope for the world, why bother going on?
Oh.
You haven't seen the world, so you don't know. You keep going for family.
I'm not family.
No. You're cargo.
Why are you so important?
Somewhere out west, they're working on a cure. I think what really impressed them was the fact that I didn't turn into a monster.
If she so much as twitches, don't.
Okay.
All right, I didn't know that.
If I'm taking you with me.
Oh, that was like straight out of the game.
Got any advice on the best way west? Yeah, go east.
You've come this far, then you know what's out there.
You're not gonna scare us.
Scared him?
You have a greater purpose than any of us could have ever imagined.
Wow.
Be careful who you put your faith in.
You might not be her father, but you were someone's.
You trust me?
Yo, this is fixing to be a powerful ass show. Oh! Oh, shit! Okay. Yep. Yo, that bloater at the end, that was the perfect way to end this trailer. And it looks terrifying, yo. I mean, look at this thing. It's huge. I mean, the bloaters in my mind are more like, we can't see the full body here, but the bloaters in my mind are bloated, right? They're kind of fat and just have this hulking weight to them. This looks just like a giant monster, which is fine. It still looks scary and crazy AF. It might have that sort of sense about it once we see its whole body. It's just neat to see things that feel like they're straight out of the game, brought to life. Like this shot right here is a prime example of it. Just the greenage everywhere and whatnot. This looks like it's straight from the game. Even if it's not a shot you see exactly from the game, the environment is replicated very, very, very well. Let's go forward here a little bit. I mean, I remember this scene because it's very early on in the game. It was my first time, I recall, where Joel can kind of listen through the walls, which, while it's a neat feature in the game, I feel like it kind of broke the reality of the game a little bit. I know that, most people don't care. It's just kind of like a superpower. If there was anything I wish they took out of the game, that would be one of those things, but it helps you to survive. Perhaps it is a visual representation of a sense that you sort of develop in an environment like this, so I guess that kind of justifies it. Yeah, I mean, they're doing a good job of recreating this environment and making it feel just frightening, I guess. Ellie. We're seeing more of her, what's her name, Bella Ramsey? We're seeing more of her talk. Here's the thing. She is very serviceable as this interpretation of Ellie. She is not, I hesitate to use this phrasing, she's not quite my Ellie that I have in my head, but that is based on the former, I have to be very careful how I say these things. I'm gonna dead name right now. Elliot Page's former personality, Ellen Page. Like, in my mind, that's still how Ellie looks, right? That being said, I feel like this works, you know, in terms of this story, in terms of this version of the story. Knowing what I know of the story from the game and whatnot, having played it twice, I'm like, oh yeah, like I can totally see this being the direction you go. And the way she's performing, I'm like, yeah, I'm buying into that. It's just that her design, for lack of a better word, it's just not quite what I had in my mind or what I had hoped for, but it works for the show. And I think that I can personally buy into the drama of what the show is selling me with this particular actress. There was a bit of a comedic moment as well. This bit right here, let me bring the volume up.
I think what really impressed them was the fact that I didn't turn into a monster.
She just sounds like a completely different person from the Ellie from the game. It's that simple. It sounds like an interpretation of Ellie, as if like you have stage plays of things that are like done by different actors and whatnot. It's like their version. That's what this kind of feels like. You know, it's not quite the Ellie that I have become accustomed to, and I guess that's okay. You know, you just got to get used to it, and otherwise you're gonna be mad the whole time. Yeah, like that little bit, obviously not from the game, but it lends the show some levity, and I think that in something like this that can be really dark and dreary and depressing, that actually is helpful for the audience, in my opinion, especially if you're not accustomed to that, because the game is quite dark. It's not a lot of ha-has. No ha-has in the game at all that I can recall. Maybe a little bit in Last of Us 2 at the very beginning with the kids and whatnot, but for the most part, it's just dark and depressing, right? But in a way that is playable. I actually enjoyed having this included. Knowing that it's the people behind Chernobyl actually gives it even more credibility, I guess. Like I might have been exposed to that information before and I just forgot, but no, like I watched Chernobyl and that was a damn good show. Knowing that it's from the creators of Chernobyl, I'm like, oh wow, like I can expect this is gonna be even cooler than I had thought. This shot right here, I only recall it because this is one of the demonstration shots they had in the remastering. They like redesigned the whole background and everything. We redid the game from the ground up. This is one of those shots they used to illustrate that. I don't remember the mall looking quite this cool in the game. It's neat. I mean, it's neat to see this, you know, rundown shell of a version of itself, dilapidated state, being brought back to life with power, with I guess with a generator or something. This is probably more from the side game that you get to play as Ellie, the DLC that eventually just got, you know, married with the game in subsequent versions. If you guys haven't played the game before and you have no idea what I'm talking about, in the original PS3 version, you could get this DLC later on where you played as Ellie and you got to find out that she was a lesbian and you get to spend time with her girlfriend and learn that whole backstory. That all, as I recall, took place at a mall. The environment was quite different from this. It was more like snowed in. This doesn't look like that. It's still cool to see. Like, I like the design of this with like all the vines that are kind of running it over and it just looks run down and barely holding together. I'm guessing this guy right here is David from The Last of Us, the villain in the game. He doesn't look anything like the design of David from The Last of Us video game. There's this moment prior where he throws down the axe on Ellie, and I don't know, maybe I'm connecting dots that aren't really there, but that would be my guess, that this is David. Again, this is one of those things where it's like, yeah, that's not the guy I would have personally chosen to play David. Assuming that this is David, I haven't looked at the IMDb. At this point, I'm just going with it, because the casting for Joel and Ellie, I'm like, those aren't the actors I would have chosen, but what I'm seeing here so far, I'm like, I'm going with that. That's pretty cool. Like, I feel like I can buy into their performances. And so I'm assuming that this is a very good actor. I'm not familiar with his face, but I'll just go with it. With each commercial I'm seeing of The Last of Us, it's getting me more and more excited, the way they're sort of doling out the details of the show through these snippets and what have you. It's got me more and more stoked to see this, to see what they've got here. It's certainly giving me volumes more confidence than I had initially at hearing the casting choices. At the very least, the thing that they're doing a stellar job of, you know, even if you disagree with the casting choices, is bringing the environment, the world to life. It looks so good. It looks lived in, and it feels like, you know, a real life version of what you saw in the game. Now, Maybe that's not that hard to accomplish, but we've seen so many instances of movie companies or whatever adapting video games, and it's like, yeah, that kind of feels like the game. That's not quite the game though. This is really darn close. Like, it feels like they're doing a really, really good job of honoring the source material, and that has me very excited. So, you guys, let me know your feelings in the comments below. Thanks so much for hanging out. I'm Jabby Kaway. Peace out.